Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com, setting the record straight about numbers. The left seems to have a lot of difficulty with science, mathematics, and vocabulary. Spike magazine had a good article last week, The Left's Shameful Abuse of the Science. When Democrats say they're the party of science, they really mean don't question us. Whenever I see an article which starts with scientists say or experts say, I know that I'm about to read a bunch of propaganda. Scientists and experts rarely agree on anything, which means when they say scientists say, it means that they've cherry-picked a few scientists who will push their political agenda. But the left doesn't just have problems with science, they also have a lot of problems with mathematics. European cities have been having massive anti-lockdown and anti-mask protests. People in Spain are sick and tired of government tyranny. Children were locked up in their homes for 2 months. And the Spanish say, we can't live like zombies. They don't want to wear masks. These protesters are protesting against government tyranny and stupidity, but NPR describes it as the coronavirus crisis. Note how the left abuses language. These people aren't protesting a virus. They're protesting the government politicizing the virus. Scandinavian countries have been the exception in Europe. They're not mandating masks. In Norway, they said, 200,000 people have to wear a mouth mask for at least a week to avoid perhaps one infection. Forcing the public to wear masks is about creating fear and exerting control over the citizenry. It's not about public health. If the left understood math, they would realize that 200,000 people wearing masks for a week to avoid one infection is not very good policy. Yet the Australian police are arresting and beating up people for not wearing masks.
She's in pain. She's in pain. She says she's in
I'm
pain.
going with you now. I need to confirm your identification.
I don't have my ID.
Well, then where is it?
It's in my mom's car.
You don't have a wallet here?
No, I
Where's
don't
your
have.
mom's car?
It's close by.
No. You need to talk to me, okay? The reason we're arresting your mum and we're going to arrest you is because we can't confirm.
I was walking by. I was walking by.
Then how come she's told you that you're her daughter?
Yeah, she's my mom. I know.
Okay. This is serious. You need to talk to me. Where's your ID? Because you're going to be arrested if
It's
I
in my
can't.
mom's car.
Where's your mum's car?
There.
It's where? Over here. Is it walking distance away?
I don't know. Maybe yes.
You need to take this seriously because you won't be arrested if I can confirm your ID. Do you hear me? You won't be arrested if I can confirm your ID. Tell me how.
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yes, you are doing something wrong. You're out in contravention of the COVID restrictions, alright?
But I'm walking.
Okay, alright.
It's allowed.
I still need to confirm your ID and you're going to be
What
under
for?
arrest.
I'm not breaking the law.
No, I believe you are, so I need to confirm your ID. How am I going to do that? No, you
Mama,
tell me.
stop.
You're the one being a smart ass about this.
What we're seeing is not a virus problem. What we're seeing is a government out of control problem. Now let's move on to Germany. On August 1st, 2020, hundreds of thousands of people gathered in Berlin to protest mask mandates, lockdowns, and the growing tyranny of COVID. The media attempted to paint the attendees as right-wing extremists and Nazis. So according to the press, people who want to open their businesses are Nazis, but people who want to burn their business down are social justice warriors. And of course the press didn't accurately report on the size of these protests. The press reported that the Berlin protests were 18,000 people, even though they were much larger than that. So once again, the press is abusing both language and mathematics. So now on to London. Massive protests against lockdowns and masks, but the BBC News won't show this picture. Once again, the BBC is lying about the size of the crowd. Now let's look at the bottom sentence in this article. A leaked government report suggests a reasonable worst-case scenario of 85,000 deaths across the UK this winter due to COVID-19. So the UK government and press are back pushing the same lies as they were back in March, when they predicted 510,000 deaths in Britain and 2.2 million in the United States. This is actually what's going on with coronavirus in the UK. Death rates have been pretty low and declining for the past 2 months. The UK has achieved herd immunity, but the government isn't about to let go of that control and power, so they continue pressing forward with more lies. In his novel 1984, George Orwell said, "No one ever seizes power with the intention of relinquishing it." So the UK government is using more fake mathematics and more abusive language in order to retain their control. Now let's look at the mathematics of when the press wants to lie the other direction. I was in London during November 2003 when President Bush came to visit with the Queen. Not surprisingly, there were protests against President Bush. Let's look at how the BBC described these protests. Thousands protest against Bush. Then they say tens of thousands of people have protested in London against President Bush. And then they go on, organizers claim 200,000 joined the demonstration, although police put the numbers closer to 100,000. So over the course of 3 sentences, the BBC went from thousands to tens of thousands to 200,000. But what the police actually reported is that there were 70,000 protesters there. Now let's compare that to what the BBC said. Organizers claimed 200,000 joined the demonstration, although police put the numbers closer to 100,000. This is extremely deceptive because the police reported numbers lower than 100,000. Should point out that the number 1 is also closer to 100,000 than is the number 200,000. I was there at the protest. There were like 6 people protesting out in front of Buckingham Palace. Several hundred people marched down Oxford Street. And then the big event was in the evening when they toppled the statue of George Bush in Trafalgar Square. The left loves to bring statues down. I was there in Trafalgar Square, and there's no way there were 70,000 people there for that demonstration. Trafalgar Square is only about 120,000 square feet, and a lot of that area is taken up by fountains. There's no way you could fit more than 30 or 40,000 people in there. There were a lot of people there, but there was still plenty of room to walk around. The only way you could pack 70,000 people into Trafalgar Square would be to pack them in like sardines, and it was not like that. C-SPAN reported the 2003 protests live, and they said there were tens of thousands, not hundreds of thousands. And on the same day as the 2003 protests, Al-Qaeda was blowing up Turkey, they were blowing up Iraq, and they were blowing up synagogues. But the press wasn't particularly interested in that. What they were interested in was the statue of George Bush coming down. They thought that was fantastic. So the BBC is lying about the size of the current protests, and they were also lying about the size of the 2003 protests. The press makes up numbers which are too big when it suits their agenda, and they make up numbers which are too small when that suits a different agenda. But something else big happened that week. England won the Rugby World Cup in Sydney, and when the team returned back to the UK, about 600,000 people lined the streets of Whitehall. It was a scene very similar to what's going on in London now. Only difference is that back in 2003 people were happy, and right now they're very angry at the government. Toto is very tired of all the government lies about math, science, and vocabulary, and he's busy pulling back the curtain on them. You can visit him on the web at realclimatescience.com.